Welcome here to Talk SCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for build up once again to El Clasico, which takes place this Sunday at the Camp Nou. Can we end our season on a high and complete a league double over Real Madrid? Here is the match preview. We're going to find out. As always, guys, the match previews today coming to you courtesy of the OneFootball app, which you can find in the description down below if you do wish to download it. 58% of the 160,000 people that have got involved today on the voting on the OneFootball app, 58% in Barcelona's favour. I feel like that should be a bit higher. We're at home. We should be coming into this game with a bit more backing. So if you are on the OneFootball app, make sure you're voting in Barcelona's favour. We can do this tomorrow. And in my own poll, you guys are very, very confident indeed. The majority of you right now believe that Barcelona will win tomorrow. And not only win, but win by 2+ goals. That is going to be very, very interesting to see if it comes true. Kickoff will be coming to us on Sunday evening live from the Camp Nou in Barcelona at 8:45 local time. So in El Clasico, under the lights earlier on in the season, it was much, much earlier in the day. Right now though, under the lights at the Camp Nou, it should be a really electric atmosphere. Every Clasico with the lights beaming down, the players should be up for this one. And here, as always, guys, are the times right around the world where you are. And in terms of coming this one, obviously I made a few videos in the build up to this. Obviously, strictly speaking, there's not an awful lot riding on this game. We're not really playing for a great deal, and the same can be said for Real Madrid. But as always, like I've said before, in El Clasico, you're playing for pride. You're playing to win the game, to beat your opposition, to put a marker down and make a statement. And our objective in this game is very, very simple indeed. We want to do the league double over Real Madrid. We want to continue our unbeaten streak in the league, and what we're aiming to do is really an unprecedented, unbeaten La Liga title success. Nobody has ever won La Liga without losing a single game. That is still there for us to take, and if we can get past Real Madrid, we've got a real chance of doing that. We do come into this game having already beaten Real Madrid in the league this season, a crushing 3-0 win in their own backyard in the Santiago Bernabeu. That was back in December. It was the last game before the Christmas break, and it was a really fantastic display, a brilliant win at the Bernabeu. Suarez, Lionel Messi, and even Alex Vidal, of all people, getting involved in the scoring, and it really was a crushing win, had a big bearing on the title race. Even at that point, even in December, after that win, we started to pull away, and it was a really big victory psychologically. And though technically this is the 4th Clasico of the season so far, obviously we only met them once in the league, but you have to remember, of course, that technically speaking, at the start of the season, we did begin Ernesto Valverde's reign as the Barcelona coach with 2 really humbling defeats, really, at the hands of Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup. That was back in August. We lost 5-1 on aggregate over the 2 legs, losing 3-1 in the first at the Camp Nou, and also 2-0 defeat away from home at the Bernabeu, with Asensio scoring in both of those games. Long-range efforts, and hopefully tomorrow we can erase this kind of memories of the Super Cup, move on from that, and we has done. We really have done that, and more towards the win that we did at the Bernabeu. That's the kind of win, that's the kind of performance that we want to be striving for, because like I say, since that Super Cup loss, moving on then to that La Liga win in December against Real, taking our game to the next level domestically. We celebrated, of course, the double, the La Liga title and the Copa del Rey earlier on this week in Barcelona. The players going through the streets on the open top bus, parading those trophies and enjoying the fan celebration. Of course, we won 4-2 against Deportivo La Coruña last Sunday to relegate them on the night and also crown ourselves La Liga winners yet again. Real domination it has been in terms of the league title in the last 10 years. Barcelona dominating, really dominating on that stage. And also, of course, we have played Depor last Sunday. Since then, the players have had a week's rest. Everybody has sort of had a bit of time to take everything in, have a few days off. Valverde hasn't really worked them too hard in training. So hopefully we can see a sort of performance that we saw in the Copa del Rey final. After the players have had a good amount of rest, had a bit of time to recuperate, they can now come out against Real Madrid all guns blazing. Real Madrid, meanwhile, though, they have been in action much more recently. They faced Bayern Munich, of course, on Tuesday. That was only a few days ago now. That was during the second leg of their Champions League semi-final. They got through that game just about. It wasn't exactly comprehensive from Real Madrid. Bayern Munich giving them a lot of problems. There was a few decisions here and there, which I'm not going to go into. I don't have all day. But as you know, with Real and the Champions League, at times there can be a few decisions which go one way or another. They progressed, though, 4-3 on aggregate, drawing 2-2 on the night tonight. And of course, they have reached their third successive Champions League final, and they will face Liverpool in that final, which would be an incredible achievement. You know, it is Real Madrid. I don't really like them, of course. We are all in that kind of boat. But at the same time, what they're doing in the Champions League is incredible, and I just wish we were there to try and stop them. But moving on with that, I think there's a lot to play for on Sunday. Like I said before, I think there's a lot to play for. Even though nothing is on the line, we will want to inflict some pain on Real. We want to go there on Sunday, win the game, put a marker down, and say, you know what, we've got our La Liga title, we've done the double over you, we are still superior to you. Even with your success in Europe, domestically, we are kings. And then there's Real Madrid, of course, who'll want to come out and they'll want to beat us for the same sort of reason. They'll want to go and win the Champions League and then also say to us, well, yeah, we still beat you. You might have won the league, but we still beat you in your own ground, and we've also got the Champions League. So there is still a lot to play for. Both of us will want to win this game. And of course, then you move on to the small matter, and what is, to be honest, the very, very large matter. One of the most important things and driving forces behind me wanting to win this game, Andres Iniesta, who will sadly be participating in his final El Clasico before his move to China this summer. Obviously, very, very sad. I will be doing more videos on Iniesta as the time passes, but right now, it's still really saddening to me that he's leaving. I don't want him to go, one of my favourite players ever, and all I can hope is that we give him a fantastic send-off, just like we did in the Copa del Rey final, where he himself was magnificent, and I really hope that we get to see him tomorrow, potentially from the start, potentially from the bench. He has been suffering, unfortunately, with some injury problems over the last few days, and he only actually managed to return to full first-team training yesterday, so it's going to be interesting to see how Iniesta has gone about this training, how he's feeling in his body, but you know in his mind, he is going to want to play this one, absolutely no doubt about that, and with that in mind, we do move on to the expected lineups, and what I would like to see Ernesto Valverde doing this one. And now, strictly speaking, provided that everybody is fit on the day, this is the lineup that I see Ernesto Valverde going with. I think he's going to try and sort of replicate, like I was talking about before, that Copa del Rey final performance. I think he sees Coutinho here very much so as a forward player. He's not going to play him in midfield. He seems to want him as part of the front three, and that makes it really, really difficult to actually see Dembele breaking into this team, because I actually think, like we spoke about yesterday with Marcelo, the way that he goes forward, he's going to leave space in behind. Coutinho here has really got to attack that space. He's really got to move into it, and I actually think that Dembele could be a very, very good player to have on that right-hand side, either from the start or coming off the bench. And the same here with Sergio Roberto. He has really got to be up and down here, trying to close in on that space, forcing Marcelo back, and at the same time, it might be Roberto, but at the same time, like I say, it could be very interesting if Nelson Semedo played there. With all his pace, with all his athleticism, it could be interesting to see if he was to feature at any stage of this game. But obviously Ter Stegen in goal goes without saying. Then there's Jordi Alba at left back, Samuel Umtiti and Gerard Piqué. Both of those two look much, much better in the Copa del Rey final after some rest. Obviously against Depor, there was a few slack performances, but I think their mind may have been a little elsewhere with focus on this game. Sergio Busquets, integral as always in that midfield alongside Ivan Rakitic, and like I say, hopefully for the last ever time in El Clasico, we do get to see Andres Iniesta, the man himself, the man who has ran the show really in so many Clásicos over the years. Hopefully we get to see him in this midfield role, just like he was against Sevilla in that Copa del Rey final, roaming all over the place, all action, all magic. That's what we want to see from Andres Iniesta. Luis Suarez is another one I think could definitely benefit from a bit of rest. He always performs better when he's had a few days recovery and when he can really be at his optimum level, going in there, closing down defenders, really working hard, and like he does like doing really for the team. And then there's Lionel Messi, who I think has got his mind a little bit on the World Cup finals, of course, not an awful lot to play for now. He wants to be fully fit and fresh going into that World Cup, but at the same time, just like we saw against Depor, even if he's at 70%, he can hurt you massively. A hat-trick last Sunday, what will he do this weekend against his favourite team to face in Real Madrid? He always seems to hurt them, and he'd love to do that tomorrow at the Camp Nou in front of 98,000 fans. It's going to be a good one. And now, of course, it is time to give my score prediction for this one, and I'm going to go with Barcelona 2, Real Madrid 0 on the night. I can actually see us keeping a clean sheet against Real. Cristiano hasn't really been in fantastic goal-scoring form lately, and when he doesn't score for Real, they do really struggle for goals. Benzema got 2 against Bayern Munich, but that was really a big surprise. He has not scored this season. Bale Bale's not really been in the lineup frequently either. He struggled to find form. They will struggle for goals if Ronaldo is kept out, whereas we have Messi, we have Suarez. I think both of those players could get on the score sheet. And like I said before, I would love to see Iniesta go out, maybe with a goal to remember. Against Real Madrid, he doesn't score so often, but on the big occasions, he will always make sure that he's the man to watch. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you think the score is going to be? What team do you think Ernesto Valverde will line up with on Sunday? Let me know down below. And of course, I will see you tomorrow for the big game. We can do this. It's El Clasico. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça.